having a green card, not citizenship, but a green card as a result of that visa while you're here in those activities, we're going to kick you out. It's as simple as that. This is not about free speech. This is about people that don't have a right to be in the United States to begin with. No one has a right to a student visa. No one has a right to a green card, by the way. So when you apply for a student visa or any visa to enter the United States, we have a right to deny you for virtually any reason. But I think being a supporter of Hamas and coming into our universities and turning them upside down and being complicit in what are clearly crimes of vandalization, complicit in shutting down learning.
Proceeding to boarding now. Ladies and gents, please come aboard and take your seat. Roger that, Captain. They're on their way. Have a good flight. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you a good flight on behalf of First Class Wings.
Good morning, Captain. They mentioned at the gate that the network would be available throughout the flight.
Good morning, pilot. Your guest today is Mr. Horia, who's on the go to Dover. He's close to one of our top clients who booked a flight for him. Please give him your warmest welcome on behalf of the company. Have a nice flight.
November 40 traffic in Foxtrot, Charlie Whiskey 210 is taxiing to runway 7. November 40 traffic in Foxtrot, Charlie Whiskey 210 taking off runway 7 departure to the north.
All right. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you might be. My flight simming friends. Yeah, I'm going to try to speed this up a little bit. I've already got us on the taxi. So if you were watching yesterday, it was the horror. The horror. I can't believe how bad that went and how bad I botched that landing multiple times. I just couldn't do it. Horrible, horrible, horrible. So I still have to do 9 private VIP charter missions to be able to advance to the next tier of VIP. At this rate, oh my gosh. Let me show you where we're at. We are here in the United States. The blue airplane icon. Get this out of the way. So we're up here in the northeastern United States, and it looks like the direction that we're traveling, we might actually run into quite a few of these audio tours. So let me come into the sound now. Sorry, didn't think about this before starting. And I'm probably going to skip the cruise. See, right now, I just want to see, can I get a B and still like shorten it by skipping things like the cruise? I don't want this to be 3 hours, not at all. And let's just find the environment. Don't need to hear the environment that much. See if that's a little bit more tame. Yeah, that's better. So if we get an audio tour, let me see, check the level here. And I gotta check, make sure my mic's working. All right, so let's just play one. So we'll be passing this off to our port side up near Franklin, Red Mill, Clinton, New Jersey.
The Red Mill is a 4-story grist mill and historic site located along the south branch of the Raritan River in Clinton, New Jersey. It was built around 1810 as an industrial mill. It has served several roles, including a wool processing plant, a peach basket factory, and a textile mill. It is now a museum that is part of the Red Mill Museum Village, and is on the National Register of Historic Places under the name David McKinney Mill. The Red Mill was built by Ralph Hunt in 1810, on land he had inherited from his father, Daniel, who had been an early landowner in Clinton and built the stone mill across the street in 1763. It was in use as a wool processing plant for the first few years, although by 1820, the wool business had failed in the downturn for cloth. Eventually, Hunt's business failed, and he lost hundreds of acres on both sides of the Raritan River.
Okay, that's working just fine. Yesterday's was so bad, I'm kind of timid about using the random flight generator. But give it a minute to pop up here. We'll do one, okay? We'll do one roll today and see what we get. Let me come out here and stop. And I need to check the presets to make sure nothing's set. It'll pop up on the screen in a minute. It takes a moment to populate sometimes. I found one in right fuel tank leakage. That's good. And vacuum failure. Okay. Let's see if it's available now. All right. All right, so let's roll 1d8. And we rolled a 6. So that would be something in our brakes. So we have 3 options here. So let me roll a 1d4. Nothing will happen on a 4. Nothing happens. Saved. Okay, good. All right. Saved. That's all I can say about that. All right, let's get going then. Got that hard pull to the right going on still. But a pretty bad crack up in the Cirrus Jet a couple of days ago, and then redeemed myself by doing another flight and not really sticking the landing, but it was okay. So let's hope today is all right as well. Gear's not responding.
Philadelphia approach Kin Foxtrot Charlie Whiskey 210 is type 1 miles northeast of November 40, 800 feet. Request flight following. Kin Foxtrot Charlie Whiskey 210 Philadelphia approach. Squawk 0673.
1,700 feet. Gosh.
Foxtrot Charlie Whiskey 210. Did you hear my last transmission?
Nope.
Squawk 067 Kin Foxtrot Charlie Whiskey 210. Kin Foxtrot Charlie Whiskey 210 radar contact 3 miles northeast of November 40, 2,000 feet. Altimeter 29er. 9er 8. Roger Kin Foxtrot Charlie Whiskey 210.
Okay, flaps are up. I'm trying to get back down actually to 1,700. I'd set it for 2.
Philadelphia approach Kin Foxtrot Charlie Whiskey 210 4 miles north of November 40.
We'll be getting on that
IFR to 4 Victor 8 ready to copy.
GPS plan here in just a moment. Oh, 17,000 feet? Really? 0673 squawking. Walk, walk. All right, 17,000.
Red Mill is a 4-story grist mill and historic site located along the south branch of the Raritan River in Clinton, New Jersey. It was built around 1810 as an industrial mill. It has served several roles, including a wool processing plant, a peach basket factory, and a textile mill. It is now a museum that is part of the Red Mill Museum Village and is on the National Register of Historic Places under the name David McKinney Mill. The Red Mill was built by Ralph Hunt in 1810 on land he had inherited from his father, Daniel, who had been an early landowner in Clinton and built the stone mill across the street in 1763. It was in use as a wool processing plant for the first few years, although by 1820, the wool business had failed in the downturn for cloth. Eventually, Hunt's business failed, and he lost hundreds of acres on both sides of the Raritan River.
All right, we're on the GPS flight plan, and we're climbing to 17,000 feet.
15 for Kin Foxtrot, Charlie Whiskey 210. New York Center Kin Foxtrot Charlie Whiskey 210 is passing 3,300 feet, climbing 17,000 feet. Kin Foxtrot Charlie Whiskey 210, New York Center altimeter 29er. 9er 8 radar contact.
Fuel quantity miscompare. $144,145 by a gallon? I don't understand. Do you know what fuel quantity miscompare means? But look at these. I mean, left and right, they're only off by. Oh, now they're equal. 4,000 feet. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. If you're tuned in and you're like, man, it doesn't look beautiful to me, Kinneas, make sure that you go down to the, if you're on a 4K monitor, in the bottom lower right-hand corner of your YouTube window, there's a little settings wheel to change the quality. Make sure the quality is something that you like. So I am trying to push a 4K stream. So I'm broadcasting at 4K. Now, again, this is a live stream, so it's doing its best. It hasn't gone through the full encoding as it will do after the stream is over and eventually get it to 4K. But you should still have a 4K option for watching. Anyway, it looks beautiful on my screen. Still a little, I've noticed since SU1, little hiccups here and there. But nothing too bad. So once we hit Elise in the cruise, it may allow us to then skip all the way to the descent, which is fine. I really need to just try to do whatever I can to get these VIP missions out of the way. And now they don't populate everywhere. Some people are upset about that, but whatever. It is what it is. But VIP missions don't populate like the rest. So there's a ton of flight seeing and a ton of this and a ton of that. Well, over the last 3 days, each day there's only been one VIP mission available each day. Today there's 2. I think they felt sorry for me. They put 2 in today. And they're not sending me into horrible, 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 horrible conditions. Yesterday was one of the worst flights I have had in a long time. They stuck us in the Havilland, which I'm not totally fond of it. But then they sent us across the Alps, I believe. High mountains. And we were iced up. The windows were iced up the entire time. The thing doesn't really have any anti-icing equipment. And then when we came down, even where we were landing, it just wouldn't thaw out the windows. And even though I felt like I was in the proper speed range to pull off a landing, the air kept coming out from underneath me and I just kept falling out of the air, or I couldn't build up enough. It was rough and I just could not get the landing at all. I couldn't get anywhere near the runway. I kept crashing over and over again. And then it's a really tight valley. So the whole thing was just a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. And I didn't check the difficulty rating on it, but that one should have been labeled fully difficult as possible. It was nuts. So hopefully, everything seemingly, as I looked at this one and looked at where we're going, again, we're not flying over snow mountains. We're not flying through crap weather. And hopefully the visibility seems like it's going to be great when we get there. So I've got my fingers crossed. That was so disheartening. But that's the way it goes, That's where my lack of experience shows. So I actually kind of hope that something like that comes up again, which it will eventually. Because I want to be able to stick something like that. I after a while, after you've crashed a couple of times, they don't let you keep trying. They just end the mission, and that's what happened. So after like 3 tries and crashing, they're like, you're done. And that's unfortunate. I really, really, really wanted to stick that landing. Just could not. As you see up there, I could use a sponsor, and I could use some more subscribers always. And if I'm not subscribed to you, please go into the chat room and say hi so I can immediately click the 3 dots next to your name and go to channel and hit subscribe on your channel. Doesn't matter if you have content or not. Doesn't matter if it's flight simming or not. I'm into all kinds of topics. You name it. Maybe just not knitting. I'm really not into knitting. I'm really not into clothes making or dress making. But hey, if that's what you're doing, cool. More power to you. But pretty much, yeah, I like everything. So I'd be happy to follow you. Please say hi. Boy. Now, the thing about this aircraft is, as far as I know, I have not found any speed brake. So you've got to be really careful and do your best to slow down as much as possible coming in for your landing. She does like to hover. So coming down into the ground effect, sometimes she doesn't want to touch down, so you got to be careful of that. And then be careful of your braking, of course. I hope that as we go forward in the future with career mode and company mode, that you're able to use anything that is available in the marketplace, or anything that you could any plane that you have, you can use. Because I'll tell you what, I don't mind trying to become better and better and better and better at flying everything. But it's 2025 and we now have vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, and I would much rather. It always comes down to rolling a death roll on landing. And I'm tired of it. All these wonderful flights, and then something goes wrong at the landing, and I'm tired of it. Maybe it's just, I'm getting old. I could blame it on a bunch of things. I'm getting old. My joystick's old. Da 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 da. And I don't want to have to keep rolling death dice every time I come in for a landing. I'm ready to move on, folks. I'm ready to move on to VTOL aircraft. I know that shocks a lot of pilots. They're like, that's not flying. Yeah, I can understand your point of view. And like I said, I really want to try to, to master all of these aircraft and become a legendary Skydude. But I also want to do what is right. It's why I don't like tail draggers. They're like, well, you don't have enough good stick and rudder. And that may be true. But they're inherently unsafe. The design is unsafe. That's why they switched to the trike design. To eliminate the death roll. And what I mean by that is rolling dice. You're rolling death dice every time you come in for a landing. And trying to land a tail dragger, yeah, you're right. Well, you don't have good enough stick and rudder control, son. Yeah, that may be, but I would rather just land it. I mean, is this a vanity thing? You know, I mean, yeah, right, I get it, but I just want to get from point A to point B safely. I can't wait as we go into the future and seeing vertical takeoff and landing airliners, because again, look at all the crack ups the damn airliners have been having lately. For 20 years, they were worried that this was going to happen. For the last 20 years, they have been raising concern, expressing their concern that at this point in time, we wouldn't have enough truly well-trained pilots. It takes too long, it's too complicated, it's too dangerous, and it's more and more apparent every day. Even when they have all the proper certifications and all the proper hours, again, crap goes wrong.
Foxtrot, Charlie Whiskey 210.
Okay, we can hold the... all right, better mentally prepare for this. We're going to go ahead and skip to descent. So, you slow down. I don't want to be going...
Glad to be your captain today. First, I'd like to welcome everyone on behalf of First Class Wings on flight FCW210. We are currently cruising at an altitude of 16,100 feet at an airspeed of 200 knots. It's 11:48 a.m. and are expecting to land in Dover approximately at 4:10 a.m. local time. Current temperature of 33 degrees Fahrenheit. If the weather cooperates, we should get a great view of the area as we descend. I'll update you before we reach our destination. Until then, sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the flight.
That was nice. Lord Almighty, air traffic control is such a pain in the butt. It's constantly. That's another thing I hope in the future can change.
Boston Center Kin Foxtrot, Charlie Whiskey 210, 17,000 feet. Kin Foxtrot, Charlie Whiskey 210, Boston Center, altimeter 29er. 908 radar contact, continue to Puck B.
All right, there's 144 knots. Let's go ahead and skip the descent. What do I want to do? I want to look at the flight plan. Do they have any... They don't have any altitudes in. That's probably, again, my lack of understanding with this. To see what the EFB says. No charts. There's got to be. Elevation 1,956 feet. Let's put ourselves at 3. Using the Alt Select knob over here in the center console. There's 3. And it's small. All right. All right, here we go. Fingers crossed.
Foxtrot Charlie Whiskey 210, you can cancel IFR.
Oh my lord.
To your destination. Kin Foxtrot Charlie Whiskey 210, contact Boston Center on 12375.
What in the hell? Autopilot's off. Auto throttle is on.
Sync rate.
Oh my god.
Sync rate. Sync rate.
Sometimes when you do a teleport, it can really mess you up.
123. 75 Kin Foxtrot Charlie Whiskey 210. Boston Center Kin Foxtrot Charlie Whiskey 210 is passing 4,500 feet, descending 4,000 feet.
Trying to get my speed under control, myself leveled out.
02 radar contact continue.
So I'm going to do a circle here and come back a little bit. Damn you. So it's either all or nothing. So look at this. As soon as I touch, I'm barely touching the throttle. And she, she wants to keep nosing up. Trying to get the nose down. There's 120. I was just barely touching the throttle and she was shooting up. About 5.
Sink rate. Sink rate. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up. Pull up.
I see.
What's going on? Never been shaken around this much.
Kin Foxtrot Charlie Whiskey 210, you are 700 feet below your assigned altitude. Climb and maintain 4,000 foot altimeter tree 002.
Okay, I'm gonna cancel the.
Climb and maintain 4,000 foot Kin Foxtrot Charlie Whiskey 210.
I don't understand why it's doing that. Why, when you get here, they've been canceling the IFRs.
Charlie Whiskey 210 would like to cancel IFR.
Somebody says if you do it through the EFB, then it works just fine, and air traffic control doesn't do this. But this is a career mode, so I don't know.
1200. Maintain VFR. Frequency change approved. Good day.
We go out a little further, trying to work the radio.
Victor 8 traffic Kin Foxtrot Charlie Whiskey 210 tree miles southwest 3800. Ford inbound to land runway 1.
Thirty-three minutes after the hour, while we're circling around, let me grab my coffee. Cheers. Here's to your health, well-being, and prosperity. I think I chose the wrong runway.
Victor 8 traffic Kin Foxtrot Charlie Whiskey 2105 miles south 3000. Ford inbound to land runway 19er.
500.
Victor 8 traffic in Foxtrot, Charlie Whiskey 210 is on final runway 1 to land.
It's short. Be careful. All right, well, we're going to find out what kind of score you can get when skipping.
Charlie Whiskey 210.
And then probably a few little mistakes. Probably not going to like my handling. The guy in the back, the VIP, was a little disturbed at one point.
Good thing I had work to do. That flight was pretty average. I'll let the agency know that.
Good thing I had work to do. The flight was pretty average, he says. So no kudos, but let's see what we get. Cross fingers, we need a B or better. Come on, engine. There we go. Come on. Fingers crossed. Come on, come on, come on. Ugh. Nope. Oh, we got it. Got disheartened there for a second. Okay, so you can still get a B by skipping the cruise. Yeah, he wasn't happy. Well, we can, you know, that's something we can work on. All right. All right. Well, that was a that was a success. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and end this one here and pick it up at the shortly. I'm all off schedule today.